Thank you for checking out Late Night Laz. Here's your host, Laz.
Boy, if y'all don't get your I'm playing. Welcome back to Late Night Laz. It's your boy Sachi back with another episode, which I think could not be a banger. Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, yep, it's Sachi, aka the Finesse Fish, aka the Versace Python, aka your baby mama's favorite baby daddy, aka the Penn State Duck, aka Pooh Bear? Who? Where? I don't know where that came from. But yeah, we back with another episode, man. And before I get into that, man, I want to talk about this. I love doing this. I keep saying that every time. And you know, I usually don't look at the numbers because I don't really care about the numbers. I kind of do this because I love. I do this because I legitimately love doing it. And I looked at the numbers, and it's just like, and kind of with numbers like this, I mean, I'm not as consistent as I should be. I mean, I want to have like the biggest podcast and like, you know, have an exclusive deal with Spotify or exclusive deal with Apple or you know, but it takes time, right? And usually when someone would see numbers like that, they would get discouraged. It was just like I got a little upset, but I didn't really I didn't really fixate on it. Not at all. I didn't really fixate on it because I know like eventually the bigger numbers are gonna come, and then, you know, then the ads and the brand deals and the, you know, all that stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. As much as everybody say, oh, when you do what you love, it doesn't feel like work. You don't do it like, even if you don't get paid, you know what I'm saying? You still love doing it, which is true. But wouldn't it be fucking fire to get, you know, to also love doing what you do, but also getting fucking rich because of it? I think that's like the best case scenario. And when we really look at it, and now this episode may or may not be for everybody. Well, I know it's not for everybody. A lot of the stuff I like to talk about isn't really for everybody, but this right here is definitely not for everybody. Depending on, Jesus Christ, it really is Late Night Laz. It depends on like what. Not exactly what you grew up on watching, or if you're like a hardcore fan, but well, kind of maybe. Because we're gonna talk about entertainment on this podcast and all facets of entertainment. Definitely like entertainment, the arts, and all facets of it whatsoever. That includes like sports entertainment, sports, you know, ballet, you know what I'm saying, dancing, like all this stuff can't just be music and movies. No. Today we're going to talk about what I would consider to be ballet with body slams. We're going to talk about wrestling. Now, I have been watching wrestling since I was a small boy. I'm talking probably 6 years old, probably 7. And ever since I watched it for the first time, man's was hooked. Man's been hooked since 6 years old. I'm a fiend for the body slams. I'm a fiend for, you know, WWE, TNA, fucking ROH. Not really a fan of AEW. It seems like they're doing too much. But, ooh, now the divide happens. Whose side? Like, who's going to not fuck with me because I don't fuck with AEW? Oh, my God, it's going to be really intense. I don't really give a fuck about that. It's too much happening with that place. But I've been addicted to the sport, the art of wrestling since I was a youth. And when I tell you that, and when I tell you that when we think entertainment, this fits all of it into one big shell, right? It fits all of it into one big into one big bowl where it mixes all forms of entertainment together. I'm talking, it takes sports, which is entertainment. It takes acting, which is entertainment. It takes fighting, which is also entertainment. Like, it takes everything that people enjoy separately, and it blends it all together into this magnificent product. The art of storytelling, like, you know what I'm saying, you have to sell every move, like, you know, the way that they do it takes a whole lot of finesse and like artistic vision. Now, granted, I know it's fake, whatever. I don't really give a fuck. And everything, why are you a grown man watching wrestling? Why are you a grown motherfucker, you know, watching YouTube videos about families and it's fake? Why are you a grown motherfucker watching the Barbie movie? You can be a whole lot of grown motherfuckers doing child shit. But, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to wrestling, apparently it's just like there's a cutoff limit for it. Like, oh, you're an adult watching wrestling. You're so lame. How about I'm an adult watching wrestling because I just like doing this shit? I'm never gonna be a wrestler, just like you never gonna be LeBron. But like it is what it is. Like it shouldn't be. Why are you judging me off the choice that I made a long time ago to enjoy this? Like, to watch a wrestler jump off a ladder and spear another wrestler, or you know what I'm saying, or watch a wrestler put another wrestler through a burning table. Motherfucker, that's fire. That is elite level, like, to not damage yourself completely. Elite level shit right there. But I'm not gonna talk about the wrestling that everybody grew up on. No. I'm not gonna talk about the Attitude Era. I'm gonna talk about the era that I grew up on, the Ruthless Aggression Era. And you know what I'm saying? And what I've been watching now. And when I tell you that the only reason why I'm talking about this in the aspect of entertainment is the storytelling part of it all, right? Long-term storytelling is a term that you hear thrown around all the time in the wrestling community, because that's what they like. They like to have a story. Well, sometimes, like, you know, a lot of wrestling fans don't know what they want near the end of it. They don't know if they want a long-term story or if it to be wrapped up in like 3 to 6 months. Like they will never let you know. They'll just, you know, fuck around and just, you know, complain. You know, just like, you know, you can't give everybody what they want because they're gonna complain about it anyway. But the long-term storytelling and the level of acting chops, like, in order to stay in character as well as they do. I'm gonna say, like, recently there has been a long-running story going on in this field, and it is probably the greatest storyline I've seen since 2004, maybe, when Triple H formed Evolution. And again, if you're not a wrestling fan and you just want to hear me talk about this art, great. But if you want to know, Google it. And if you are a hardcore wrestling fan, enjoy my perspective. Thank you. Recently, the one thing that stood out in the realm of long-term storytelling is the Bloodline story. Now, I don't know how to explain it in its, you know what I'm saying, in its full scape, in the full scape of it, in the full landscape. I can't exactly explain it all because a whole lot to go over in the limited time that I've given myself for this podcast. And when I tell you that every twist, every turn, everything kind of feels like heartbreak once you get emotionally invested into it. And like, when you can say the same thing about the MCU, right? Like, at the end, I'm not saying spoiler alert, it's been years. At the end of Endgame, when Tony snapped and he died as a result of the snap that he did to Thanos, you felt that when he died. You cried. People cried. They wept for the death of this character that they have gotten emotionally attached to. They've grown fond of his story and his arc, right? And the same thing happens in wrestling, right? Now, I'm gonna look at a few main points of the storyline that I'm talking about here. Roman Reigns, right, who is arguably the guy, right now. Not arguably, he's the guy right now in wrestling. Like, it's him and Seth Rollins. But Roman Reigns is the top guy in the business. It wasn't always like that. You know what I'm saying? When he finally, after suffering succotash all over, uh, and around the time that the vid happened, COVID, he came back around, I don't know, fucking, I want to say August 2020? August, September 2020, and he immediately just took it. He took the title and he just ran with it. He's the tribal chief, head of the table, finally letting him feel what it's like to be that bad guy. Put on that. Maybe it's him. Maybe he's like acting. Maybe he's more comfortable as this character he's portraying. But you watch because you're like, oh my god, what is he gonna say now? Like, oh, and then you know what I'm saying? You see the, excuse my chair. You see the emotional turmoil that, you know, he's inflicting on his cousin, who, you know what I'm saying, he's like, oh, why can't I be head of the table? Why can't I be, you know, why can't I be the one to provide for the family? And then he just like, you know, he's, you know, really into this like mob boss, like, I am, what is it? What is the fucking Godfather, bro? Don Corleone from The Godfather. Like, you don't, you know your role, respect that I'm the head of the table. Like, don't overstep your bounds. Like, this is my house. I run this. And it's like, you will acknowledge that I am your tribal chief. That is kind of what was going on. And then eventually motherfuckers fall in line. Now, the reason why I'm discussing this, because the long-term storytelling is, it took me on as many twists and turns as an actual 2-hour movie does. But this has been going on for like almost 4 years. Right? For 4 years. But it's absolutely necessary that it does. And don't get me wrong, there's been points where it's just like, okay, this is getting kind of stagnant, and then boom, different shit happens. And then it just keeps you interested in the story, which it should. Now, you know, when I'm talking about, like, with wrestling, it is, you know, to me it's an art form, because you genuinely have to move with grace. You have to move with a sense of surrounding. You have to trust every part of the process. And to me, that makes it art. Because when it comes with art, you lean on what you know. You paint. When people paint, they paint purely for passion. Yeah, you can paint a picture, but you paint it purely off passion, and you end up painting something that makes your soul feel. It makes your soul feel full. And you know, when it comes to when an actor is standing up there at the Oscars and they're accepting an award, you know, whether it's for best supporting actor, or, you know what I'm saying, best starring actor, whatever the case may be, it's like they feel like their soul is fulfilled because they got to do what they wanted to do, and then they're being acknowledged for their hard work. It's just like, oh, I didn't do this for nothing. This right here is what I've been working so hard for years to get. Now the hard work is paying off. And it's just like, it's art to me, because you see passion in these people. Like with every flip, you know what I'm saying? Case in point, like one of the GOATs, Randy Orton. Hell, even John Cena, shout out to his acting career, but it's just like Randy Orton and John Cena had these matches back in the day where it's just like they would beat the living shit out of each other and probably go back to the locker room and like hug, because like they homies, and this is a business. They're not actually fucking fighting each other. They're putting on a show. But even though we know that they're put on the show, it's like everything that's happening in that moment, it feels real. In that for that second, it feels real. Yeah, you know that it's scripted, but in every movie is. But you play that role with passion. We all know that RDJ wasn't actually Iron Man. We all know that Chris Evans wasn't actually Captain America. We know that Josh Brolin wasn't actually fucking Thanos. But it's just like you got invested in that character. So when you're sitting down and you get invested into a storyline, you get invested in that character. Granted, sometimes people don't know how to get out of the character. Case in point, The Rock, because that motherfucker has been playing The Rock in every movie since the early. But we love Dwayne. We love Dwayne. But it's like you're continuing to play this character, this big, beefy, strong man. That's fine. I mean, in what movie was he a fucking archaeologist? Rampage? Was that it? No, he was like no, a zoologist, right? Rampage? I'm asking this question like anybody can answer me. Y'all can't. Uh, but like it granted that it took people. And to speak on that, like The Rock, to not lump wrestling in the same field as art. It has created artists, right? It has created actors. It has created musicians in a way. Like it's created podcasters. The Stone Cold podcast. He has a podcast. The Rock is one of the highest paid actors in the world. John Cena is on a roll right now with his acting career. So to act like this art, this sport couldn't be in that same realm is absolutely shocking to me. I mean, it's choreographed because you have to be safe. You don't legitimately want to break your neck. I do know that years ago, probably like late '90s, right? There was this wrestler by the name of Droz, and he performed a high flying maneuver off the top rope, and he completely shattered his neck. He's a quadriplegic, or was. I do believe I read an article say he can move his fingers now and his hands, but he's a quadriplegic. He can't move anything from the neck down. So it choreographed, yes. Real world consequences, hell yes. Don't try this at home, kids. But to not, and for that reason only, you can't say that it's not art because you wouldn't try ballet at home out of risk of breaking your fucking ankle. You have to be a trained individual to do any high level sport or high level form of entertainment. You won't. No director, no producer is gonna let somebody on their fucking set if they can't say the lines right. If they can't fucking, you know what I'm saying? Even if they're just playing a stunt double, if you can't hit the move correctly, if you can't, make it look believable, they won't let you on their shit. If you're bland and dull and boring like Aquafina water, like they're not gonna let you do shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like so you have to be trained for every aspect of art. And that's why I say it's art. Because the level of grace and what's the word I'm looking for, man? It is right on the tip of my tongue. The level of grace and awareness that you have to pull off those moves are crazy. I said the same thing with basketball too. This is to me why it's an art. And I grew up watching this art the same way I grew up watching wrestling. You can't when people say that LeBron is the GOAT of this generation, absolutely. Because what that man does is art. Can't nobody fly like Bron does. The same way couldn't nobody shoot like Kobe could or Ray Allen could, or nobody could dunk like Vince Carter could. Nobody could shoot like Steph Curry can. No one can get in the paint like Russell Westbrook can. No one can dominate the inside like what's the fuck this guy? He went to Kevin Durant. Nobody can dominate the inside like Kevin Durant can. So it's like, and nobody can like, you know, be a big like fuck his cousin's name, bro. He was on the Warriors with Stephen Curry too. Man. I forgot his name, but like no one can do it like they can because they do it with such grace, such poise. They practice so much to perfect their craft, their art, right? Art is subjective in every way, right? If you go to a museum, you know, you look at art and you interpret it your way. So like to these people when they're in their sport, when they're in their moment, to them this is art. And to people who are watching, that's also art. And to a wrestling fan like myself, I remember going to live shows and like just seeing how they interact, you know, even before the match starts and everything like that. They're they sit down and they choreograph it because it's just like and they work through it because we have to give a top notch performance. So it's absolute to me it's art, it's grace, it's beautiful. But like we're I'm venturing off a little bit. My apologies. It's like and I'm gonna continue to bring it back to the long-term storytelling because excuse me, because the bloodline story is still going on. I can't touch that yet. I can probably make like a 4-hour YouTube video talking about that shit. But like, let me take it back to something I said earlier. Evolution, 2003 or 2004, right? Hunter Hearst Helmsley, world heavyweight champion, flanked by Ric Flair, who was not really Ric Flair much at this point because he like just failed astronomically in fucking WCW. And he brought together a super squad. He brought together a super team. You know what I'm saying? And the storytelling that happened in that moment was like this young up and comer Randy Orton, this big behemoth of a man in Dave Batista, who is also fucking killing it right now. And anybody who says that he not is a fucking liar. Have you seen My Spy? Have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy? This man is phenomenal at what he is doing right now. He was a good wrestler, right? Because you do what your passion is. You do what makes you happy. It's like, listen, this is my passion. I do what makes me happy. But it's like if it leads me to another path, if it leads me to another form of passion for myself, hell yeah. Hell yeah. But like he took his love for basically storytelling and turned it into a phenomenal acting career. But this story right here with the with Evolution, the young up and comer, the big muscle, the champion, and the vet, all learning from each other, right? And the long term storytelling with this is, you know what I'm saying, Randy, who was the younger one, he you know, he eventually he kind of, you know, took the brass, reached towards the brass ring first in order to, you know, because when Triple H lost to, I'm not going to say this guy's name, Randy Orton run it back for him, I'm not going to say this guy's name because he's a fucking monster, at SummerSlam and became the youngest world champion ever. Now, as a leader of the team, right, you're supposed to, you know what I'm saying, be happy for the rookie that you helped build to this. No, because behind every super team there's the champion who wants to remain champion. He wants to remain the top guy. You can't take this from me. You're supposed to be underneath me. How dare you try to elevate past me? That's what happened. And then Randy got booted out. You know what I'm saying? The infamous thumbs up, thumbs down moment where Batista like electric chaired him, like dropped him on his back, and you know, they start beating the shit out of him, and then like boom, rivalry between those two. The good long term storytelling because Randy ended up going on to become I think a 14-time champion or 12-time champion, either one, and then eventually when Randy would like put over to SmackDown, boom, feud with Taker, feud with one of the greatest. You know what I'm saying? And that in turn was also relatively long storytelling on their point as well. Now, with the evolution, you know what I'm saying? Eventually, you know what I'm saying? I keep saying, no, I'm saying, no. Eventually, the climax came with when Batista started to figure out, oh, you're just using me to keep the title around your waist, and boom, fool won the Royal Rumble, right? He was already making the hints that he was looking at the title and shit like that when he held Hunter's hand up. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he wanted, you know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to be the top guy. You gotta act like you don't, right? Because, like, no one's, no one, let me be honest, no one wants to be a fucking mid-carder. I mean, granted, when I was younger, I wanted to become United States champion because to me, that's the most prestigious championship in the country. It has very much a very rich history. Um, but like nobody wants to be the mid carder. But like if you want to chase the highest level, you go for the highest thing. And Batista was a 6-time world champion, but it's just like that's after. Now, this storytelling between those two was great because you saw dissension in the ranks, but it slowly happened right after the Royal Rumble. They made it seem like JBL was trying to like hit him with his limo, and it turned out to be somebody else in the fucking in the fucking limo, not H or Flair. It was like, yo, they would just paid somebody to do that shit, and he made it. It was so dramatic, right? Because when they, of course they knew, but like the fucking, there was a scene where before the dissension happened, he overheard H and Flair talking about, we got to keep the big idiot from finding out that it was us that ran him over. You know how hard it was to find a limo with antlers? And then he was outside the fucking door, and the whole crowd just went nuts because they were like on the edge of their seat. And I'm telling you, for them, this is art. So they're on the edge of their seat. They're watching every single time, like, what's going to happen now? So then when they saw him out on the other side of the door, they went ballistic. Right? They went ballistic because like, oh, it's finally gonna happen. All of the teasing and all the fucking the tension in the air. It was like, oh, it's all finally gonna come to a head. This is gonna be amazing. And when it did, y'all, when it did, it was the greatest moment in Monday Night Raw history at that time. That was a monumental, that was a monumental moment when he finally made it seem like he was going to choose the SmackDown contract to wrestle at WrestleMania. Next the thumbs up, thumbs down, whole crowd erupted. Next thing you know, clothesline, power bomb. Let me speed this up. It all came to a head at WrestleMania, right? But granted, and the Batista won, beat H, and then after that was a year, that was a year's worth of storytelling that I had to compress. But like, I watched as a kid, and then as an adult, I went back and I watched the documentary on the Ruthless Aggression. When I tell you that, they knew that this was storytelling. It was a years long story. It was only a year, right? But everybody from that story elevated so much, right? Now, again, the reason why I can say this about wrestling is because I'm a fan. I grew up with it, right? The casual or non-viewer would always ask the question, why do you watch it? It's fake. It's not real. I know. No one's actually like unless it's UFC or boxing, no two grown men are actually gonna beat the dog shit out of each other and get paid for it and get legitimately hurt. No one's gonna do that. But as I got older, I got to appreciate it for the art that it is, right? Because it was things that, Jesus Christ, so much shit on my desk. There were things that I saw as I got older, it's like, okay, this is legitimately like this is an act. This is actually a movie. This is actually a movie, and I'm mad that I'm just now thinking of this. But even the rivalry in like 2008 between fucking Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels, where Jericho punched Cuz's wife. What? You put that shit on TV? It's like, yo, it absolutely. That was like a rivalry that happened and like started in like 2001 or something, and like, you know what I'm saying? It stopped for a while, and then at 2008, 2009, that rivalry was months long, because it just kept getting better and better and better, right? From Shawn faking the leg injury to kicking Jericho in the face to, you know, Jericho throwing him through the Jerichon on the highlight reel and fucking his face up. Oh my god, dude. It was like that story it kept getting better every single time. And no matter how many times you would see a segment between those two, it would be like, oh shit, like it just keeps getting more intense because you never know. And I feel the same way now when it comes to the bloodline story that I was talking about earlier, because like right now nothing's really happening with it, nothing that I really care enough about. But the originally it was every week was a twist. Every week had me on the edge of my seat. From the moment he won the title to the feud with Jey Uso, his cousin, real life cousin, to making Jey fall in line by any means necessary. It was a roller coaster from the fucking. There was a match. I don't know what pay per view there was a match at, bro, and then there's an I Quit match, and then there was a Hell in a Cell match. And like, bro, both of those matches were fucking insane. From choking out his brother to, dude, it was wild. It was wild. And then, you know what I'm saying, having to, oh man, I can't even think of the words. I'm so tired, but it's just like having to make him fall in line and like, yo, you do as I say. Now I am your tribal chief, and to put him through that emotional roller coaster, and then the audience is just watching on the edge of their seat because the storytelling, this act, this piece of art that you're watching, it's just like, it just keeps getting better. And every feud, every match, it just turned into something that you couldn't take your eyes off of. And I'm gonna sound like a huge fucking nerd. I don't care. Listen, I looked at the numbers. I don't care, right? But if you legitimately sit down and watch, and I'm not talking, you can like go to some indie shows, like legitimately get a feel for like the love of wrestling, right? But if you love a story, if you love art being portrayed, you know, saying just the emotion that you feel because you never know what's going to happen. Oh my God, just watch. Every Friday at 7. Just watch. Hell, even every Monday at 7. Just watch. You know what I'm saying? It hits a bit different once you get emotionally invested into it. Granted, you know what I'm saying, for a while you're gonna be like, what the fuck is this? But just watch. Don't be so quick to write it off, right? I feel like that's what a lot of people do. Right, when they don't understand something, they just completely write it off, and then they just act like, you know what I'm saying, oh, it's nothing. It's, you know, it doesn't matter to me. Well, it's like, well, it kind of still fucking matters, but, you know. Jesus Christ, I gotta edit that out. No, it still fucking matters, right? It still does. And, you know, when it comes to this, it's really one of my favorite forms of art. Like it's really in my top three. Like it's music, it's film, but then it's sports entertainment, and then after that it's sports in general. Like I talked about this with my guy, and I'm like, yo, would you consider sports an art? And it absolutely is. It takes grace, poise. You know what I'm saying? It's every bit of charisma that you have to do what athletes do, and then it takes charisma, poise, skill, all that times 10 to try to put it all into one, because you have to keep people engaged or you don't get paid. That's kind of what wrestling is. There's a reason there are top guys, mid guys, and low card guys. And believe me, those low card guys either wish they were mid card guys, hell, higher card guys. You know what I'm saying? Like it to me is the purest form of art that you can give somebody in the modern era that can keep them absolutely hooked. Because a lot of movies coming out are absolutely doo-doo patootie. I can't believe I just said that. But like, if you're watching something that can keep you engaged and like actively have your mind going for about 2 hours and have you engaged with it like that, how do you not look at it as art? How do you not see it as, you know what I'm saying? How do you not see this as, I can't think of the word. How do you not see it as amazing? Which isn't the word I was actually looking for. But how do you not see it as amazing? How do you not see it as something that is meant to be enjoyed in the same way that you would enjoy a, you know what I'm saying? Let me think of fucking clapping for the wrong reasons, right? I didn't understand it initially, right? But you go back and you watch Clapping for the Wrong Reasons, which is a short film that Donald Glover did. You go back and you watch it, and then you rewatch it, and you continue just to pick up on stuff. You just pick up on everything that has been subtly put in, and then you just like, oh, that's what that meant. Oh, this is, so this was what they meant by that, or oh, I didn't even realize he was doing this at front, or you see some stuff that just catches your attention all over again. Like that's the same way I would feel about this right here, because it. I think John Cena explained it the best at the ESPYs, right? You're creating a character, good or bad guy. You are writing out a story for how long that whether a rivalry is gonna last, or or how how to elevate this person or character to the next level. If that's not TV, if that's not a movie, I don't know what is. Now, for me, in my own personal opinion, it's top tier entertainment. It's top tier entertainment, and it is. It should be respected as such by the masses. But again, this is just my opinion. But this is also Late Night Laz. Okay, I'm done talking. It is getting pretty late. I hope that people listen to this. I'm hoping that y'all check it out and like it. If you do like it, don't forget to press the like button, subscribe to my channel. Don't know why I'm saying this right now. Also follow me on Instagram at Versace Laz. That's VERSACE. And same thing with TikTok, VERSACE. Hit me up, follow me, and let me know what topic y'all want to listen to, or if you got some critique. Well, not really. I don't really care about your critique. But if you want to just hit me up with a topic you want to hear me talk about, because sometimes I don't always have an idea on what I want to sit down and talk about. But I was thinking about wrestling since like last week. So yeah, y'all have a good night or morning whenever y'all listen to this. Te amo. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for listening.